Hi everyone, it's me. Today we are talking about something that's a little bit spicy. So, this is your warning because today we are talking about things that America does better than the UK. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alanna and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living here in the UK for the last 8 years. Now, I've got some personal opinions and I've got some opinions from people online. So without further ado, let's go. I saw this comment on Reddit and I thought, God, they're right. So an American thing that they wish they could bring to the UK, what I would absolutely love is the natural diversity of the US. The amount of empty space with no human in sight for days. So many distinct biomes. As a Canadian, Canada is a huge country and we have a lot of wildlife. And of course, you're not going to see everything in the cities, but as a country, as a whole, we're talking moose, bears, beavers, lynx, deer, raccoons, birds, loads of fish, squirrels, chipmunks. If you go further north, polar bears. Now, obviously the UK is not devoid of natural wildlife, of flora, of fauna, obviously not. But it's certainly not the same, or certainly not at the same scale. I did see a study online. Since the 1970s, it has been shown that 41% of all UK species studies have declined. Since the 1950s, the number of hedgehogs have declined by 95%, while turtle doves have crashed by 98%, and even numbers of the common toad have fallen by 68%. Now, it's not all depressing. Those numbers are kind of alarming, but I did read beavers. The beaver has been successfully reintroduced into the UK after 300 years of being hunted to extinction. North America definitely has more wildlife than the UK, but we're seeing promising signs that animals can be reintroduced successfully. So, fingers crossed, because if hedgehogs become extinct, I will scream. Similar to natural diversity, this guy misses raccoons, and honestly, same. Raccoons, aka trash pandas, are just a really funny animal. They're quite vicious, even though they look absolutely adorable, and I do miss them. They're very smart though. I remember, so I used to park my car back home in Canada near our bins, like our outdoor, like green bin and blue bin and that kind of thing. And I remember waking up one morning and there were little dirty footprints on the hood of my car, and I realized that a little trash panda climbed on top of my car so he could reach the green bin and open the green bin easier and get in it. So after that, we had to start putting bricks on top of the green bin because they were opening it and like using my car to get up and open it. They can also like untie. They got kind of freaky little fingers. They're very smart. And to be fair, I do miss a raccoon. I feel like Brits are missing out on the drama and the chaos that raccoons bring. Now, what's one thing that America just does better? And that has to be aircon. Or as the Americans like to say, air conditioning. If you have watched any of my videos in the summer months, you would have heard me complaining about the aircon. I'm so sorry, it's a personal feeling, but it's definitely something that North Americans take for granted. It's just kind of assumed that it's gonna be there. So many homes in North America have aircon by default. It's just there, it's just functioning, it's just part of the home. And so before, I was always a summertime girly. I love the summertime. I love when it's sunny and hot and beautiful. But when I moved here, without aircon in homes, or lots of places to be fair, suddenly I realized I am not a summer girly when all I do is sweat. I'm only a summer girly when I can be outside and enjoy the weather and then come inside to a nice, cool, comfortable home. So now that I live in England, I am an autumn girly because I just cannot stand sweating all summer. It is something that I definitely miss. A lot of Brits say we don't need it. And I already know there are comments that British people are saying, we don't need it, you'd only use it for 2 days out of the year. I hear that every year. I don't think that's the case. Old English homes are built to retain heat. This property is hundreds of years old. And let me tell you, when it is hot, humid, sticky, I'm sitting at my desk, I'm trying to work, I'm actively sweating on my keyboard, it sucks. If I could have aircon in this country, I would. I really miss it. But it's also one of those things where if you grow up with access to it, it becomes like second nature. Whereas I think if you are 60, you've never had aircon in your home, it's hard to understand what life could be like because you haven't had that. Does that make sense? Anyway, I miss aircon. What's an American thing that Britain needs? Pickle chips. Yes, we are talking about pickle chips. The plight of the pickle chip. In Canada specifically, dill pickle chips are super popular. To be honest, they weren't my go-to chip. Like, I wasn't buying dill pickle. I'm much more of like a salt and vinegar lady. But moving here and not having them, suddenly I realized, wow, I could really goes for a dill pickle chip right about now. Do keep an eye out for them though, because sometimes they pop up in weird convenience stores, like an imported American chip, and you're suddenly like, oh my god, dill pickle. If you see them, try them. Personally, if we are talking about chips that the UK needs, we have to talk about all dressed. These were very specific to Canada, but they have made their way down south into the US. All dressed chips, in my humble opinion, are the best crisp flavor. I will die on this hill. I have made it my personal duty to try as many British crisps as humanly possible. Nobody asked me to do this, but I'm doing it. And to this day, I still haven't found a crisp flavor better than all dressed. Now you may be wondering, Alanna, what is this all dressed that you speak of? What does it taste like? And I honestly couldn't tell you. They're basically like a mashup of a bunch of other flavors. They're divine. I miss them. All dressed if you see this. I miss you. I love you. Now, one British person said something that America does better, and I wish they had it in the UK, was a porch with a swing, which, adorable. I don't think I've ever seen a home here in the UK with a big porch and a big swing. Leave a comment down below if that exists. Saying that though, I think the main point, the overarching point for this is that homes here in the UK are just so much smaller. Where you have more land in America, you can have a bigger house, and they typically do. You can have a big porch with a big swing and just hang out. It doesn't matter. I do remember though having a friend who had a big swing on the porch, and in the summertime, summer nights, and it was really nice outside, and we'd sit out there and you'd be on the swing, and maybe you'd be having snacks and listening to music, and it was just like a really nice, cozy spot. But I can't say that I've ever seen that here in the UK. Something that America does better: insect screens. Now this drives me crazy, and actually it drives my British partner insane. I visited my brother in Colorado when he was doing a postdoc, and the sliding patio doors had insect screen doors, so you could get ventilation and not have to appreciate the local biodiversity up close. Blew my mind. On a hot British day, we'll get flies, wasps, gnats, bumblebees, and every other buzzy guy joining us indoors because we have opened a window. I want these screens on every opening window yesterday. Now this one is kind of funny because at first, I loved that British homes typically don't have screens on the windows. I had never seen that before. Back in North America, every window opening, even if it opens just a crack, like there will be a screen in there. And so moving here, and I had these beautiful big windows and I could open them and there was nothing there. You could just see through like an unobstructed view. It was awesome. And then the flies came, and the bumblebees and the mosquitoes and all sorts of creatures. So on one hand, I love that there's no screens because it feels, I don't know, it feels really nice in the summertime. You got the windows open, you can see, you don't feel so constricted maybe. But the reality is that all the local biodiversity buzzing insect guys do come in. And then once they come in, they don't know how to get out. So this one in particular drives my partner insane in the summertime when the flies come in and they're buzzing around and then they can't get out. And you're trying to like shoo them out the open window and they just can't figure it out. Or when I'm filming, I close the windows and I close the blinds, right? Like I'm trying to keep a closed environment for like sound and everything. And then suddenly I realize there's a big fat fly stuck in the room with me and I'm trying to get him out so I can film and you don't see this big buzzing fly in the video. But yeah, I had never seen a window without a screen until I moved to the UK. The more you know. Oh, did you know I have YouTube memberships? If you are not angered by this video, I'd love for you to check it out. So I'll be posting exclusive full-length videos every week that will only be showed on Patreon or YouTube memberships. So if you are interested in checking that stuff out, there will be a join button on my page, on all my videos, and you can read about my tiers, you can sign up, and you can get exclusive content. No worries if you're not interested. Just throwing that out there. YouTube memberships, join button, that's all. I hope you're enjoying this video. Now, one thing that America does better than the UK, and this one comes up often, has to do with roads. Towns and cities with decent road networks. Wider roads too. Some of our tiny roads and car parks are just not appropriate for modern size vehicles. Now, I definitely agree with this one. I don't have a car currently. I sold it back in 2020, but when I did have a car and when I was driving, it is not the most convenient thing ever. I love the UK for its quirkiness, for its history, for its culture, for its uniqueness, right? But with that means that some things are just not as convenient, and roads, parking spots, or like car parks in general, it definitely suffers here. If you've ever been to North America or you ever go, you will notice, it's quite obvious that the roads are so much wider, just the lanes on the roads. You know, here in the UK, when you're on a road that's technically two ways, but it's only wide enough for one car. I feel like I come across that all the time here. I've never seen that in North America. The roads are built for vehicles. Parking lots are built for vehicles. If you go to a store, it will have a large enough parking lot. It's just bigger, right? Everything's bigger in America. And roads and car parks are no exception. Now, something that America does better than the UK, we've kind of talked about this in a roundabout way, and that's really convenience. Roads are the right size for modern cars. Parking lots are big enough for the amount of people expected to visit that store. Do you need something late at night? Places are open. Most homes are larger, and so you have space for certain conveniences like a laundry room with a big washing machine and a big dryer. So you don't have wet clothes hanging around your house on clothing racks or on various radiators. You've got screens on your windows to keep out all the bugs. I find a lot of Canada and the US is purpose built. Things are built for a very specific modern reason. And with that comes a lot of convenience. Whereas here in the UK, I think a lot of things are reused. And by that, I mean, you could have a grocery store in a building that's 500 years old. That building was not built to house a modern grocery store. It does not have a parking lot that will fit the amount of people that use said grocery store. Maybe it's down like a really small winding road that is not built for the amount of traffic that it actually sees in modern times. So for me, my unprofessional opinion, just from experience, I think a lot of it comes down to convenience versus character. You get so much character and quirkiness and history and uniqueness here in the UK, but with that, you do sacrifice some convenience that you would see in North America. So it's kind of like, are you willing or are you not? Are you willing to sacrifice some convenience for the sake of character, or are you not? One thing that I do think is done better in America is optimism. Now, I love the Brits. I love the UK. I've been fighting to live here for the last 8 years. And I know some people will watch this video and they won't know who I am and they'll think, wow, what an entitled brat. Why don't you go back to where you came from? I get it. But I know in my heart, I love the Brits. I love this place. I love the really dark, sort of self-deprecating British humor. I love that. But sometimes it feels very much like a downer. I feel like Americans know how to do optimism and do it really well. I feel like Americans have a real sense about change, about making things happen, about optimism, about getting after, about getting things done. You know, like a real sense of energy around that kind of stuff. Whereas here, I feel Brits have an ability to sort of slide into being like dark and cynical about things rather than having that really like go-getter American optimism. I'm not sure if that really makes sense. If you have familiarity with America, maybe you know what I'm talking about. But that is something that I wish was maybe more natural to British people. I love you guys. I love your sense of humor, okay? Don't change. But sometimes like being really cynical is actually quite draining or quite negative. Do you know what I mean? If this video didn't upset you too much and you'd like to watch more content, which would be totally awesome, why not check out this one? I talk about all of the British words I say naturally now. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!